Let us continue the discussion about the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R.Covey. Part 2, Private Victory. Habit 1, Be proactive. Do you know what self-awareness is? One experiment about it had been carried out before. A mirror was placed in front of different species of animals like cat, dog, tiger, monkey and lots more. The aim of this experiment is to find out whether they can recognize the figure inside the mirror were themselves. Most of them fail to do so. They may even try to fight with the image inside the mirror. Now, try to project your consciousness upward into a corner of the room and see yourself, in your mind's eyes, watching YouTube with your phone. Can you see yourself just like someone else? Self-awareness is the significant element that differentiates humans from animals. It enables us to stand apart and examine the way we see ourselves, our self-paradigm, the fundamental paradigm of effectiveness. However, most of us forget to see things through our own eyes, but tend to follow the social mirror, social paradigm, which tells us we are largely determined by conditioning and conditions. There are 3 social maps: genetic determinism, something you inherited from your family; psychic determinism, your childhood and upbringing cause it; environmental determinism, the people and situation around you cause it. If you really understand the word responsibility, you will find out it is combined with response and ability, the ability to choose your response. Proactive people can recognize that responsibility, their behavior, is the product of their own conscious choice, based on values, but reactive people's behavior is the product of their circumstance and conditions, based on feelings. To further illustrate the point, only reactive people will say that, "Why don't I have a rich dad? Why is my boss so inconsiderate and unreasonable? Why do teachers give so many assignments?" They always try to find problems from other people and their surroundings. We have to take the initiative to act. However, many people just wait for something to happen or somebody to take care of them with a blaming and accusing attitude. We need to face adversities, dissatisfaction, and challenges in life, but we also have to face the reality that we have the power to choose a positive response to those circumstances. Instead of groaning that you are not born in a wealthy family, you should put in effort to improve yourself and ameliorate your situation with your hands. Reactive language and feeling of victimization won't bring any changes, but hinder you from improvement. In our daily life, we have a wide range of concerns, like family, wealth, career, relationship and health. It is called the circle of concern. For the things we can have direct control over, it is called the circle of influence. Reactive people will concentrate on the former part, while proactive people will focus on the latter part. They will try their best to enlarge and magnify the circle of influence. Before we shift our life focus to the circle of influence, we have to be aware that consequences and mistakes are out of the circle of concern. We cannot decide the consequences. Mistakes are not the end. We should acknowledge, correct it, and learn from it. Success is on the far side of failure. It is not what happens to us, but our response to what happens to us that hurts us. Habit 2, begin with the end in mind. Nowadays, many people, especially teenagers, will waste their precious time on video games, phones, social media, YouTube, and Netflix. In my opinion, this phenomenon will only occur if you don't have a specific goal or target in your life. As we don't know what kind of person we want to be, what achievements to be achieved, what things to be done, time is wasted on meaningless stuff. Do you ever think about the goal for this year, or even for your entire life? Before this, let's imagine you are going to the funeral of a loved one. However, when you look inside the casket, you suddenly come face to face with yourself. Now, you realize that this is your funeral. There are speakers from your family, colleagues, and friends to express the feelings of appreciation and love for your life. What do you think they will say about you and your life? What character would you like them to have seen in you? What contributions and achievements do you want them to remember? Now, you can stop the video and give yourself a few minutes to think about this question thoroughly. You can jot them down on a piece of paper. It will increase your personal understanding of habit 2. Now, you probably have a picture, image, or paradigm of the end of your life in your mind. It can be a reference to set up your goals and targets. Maybe you want to travel to every corner on the earth or be a philanthropist who assists people who need help. It is important and significant to know what you are now and what you are going to be. It will make sure that you are always making correct steps to approach your success. It is wasted if we put in lots of effort and end up with a wrong direction. Many people will assume that earning lots of money represents that you are a successful person. Perhaps fame, achievement, money, or some of the other things we strive for are not even part of the right direction. Begin with the end in mind is based on the principle that all things are created twice. There's a mental or first creation and a physical or second creation to all things. We act within and enlarge the border of our circle of influence. For example, people will plan schedules for the following day or week. This is the first step, which is done mentally. By doing this, we will clearly understand what should be completed during that certain period of time. This will be the second creation. Everything can be done in an organized and effective way. The same goes with planning our life. We set up the target first and move towards our goal progressively in the right direction, or else we may be regretted at the very last moment of our life. However, without choice, some people have to live up to the scripts handed by family or the pressure of circumstance. Their first creations are not by their conscious design. Without freedom, they have to be the way expected by other people. This indicates the importance to take charge of our own first creation and script. Let's have some review. Habit 1 says, you're the creator. Habit 2 is the first creation. It is based on personal leadership, which means leadership is first creation. Leadership is different from management, which is second creation. Leadership is about what to do, while management is about how to do the thing in the best way. Management determines efficiency, leadership determines direction. Management is doing things right, leadership is doing the right thing. Well, management without leadership is the same as straightening deck chairs on the Titanic. Leadership is hard because we are often caught in a management paradigm, thinking of control, efficiency and control, instead of direction, purpose and feeling. This phenomenon occurs in relationships, families and companies. In developing our own self-awareness, we may discover ineffective scripts or deeply embedded habits that are not parallel with the values held in our life. Habit 2 indicates that we are responsible to write a new one that is more congruent with our principle. We have to play different roles, such as spouse, friend, student, teacher, parent, or child in our life. We have to figure out the character we actually want. You want to be a strict parent, caring parent, cheerful friend, disciplined, responsible, or independent individual. Determine what to do and stick to our principle. A personal mission statement based on certain principles becomes the standard for an individual. It focuses on character, what you want to be, contribution, what you want to do, and achievement, the values and principles upon which being and doing are based. To write this statement, we must begin from the center of the circle of influence, which will be the source of security, your sense of worth, guidance, source of direction, wisdom, perspective of life, and power, capability to act. These elements will determine the center of our life. Now, let's have a look at some common centers people typically have. Family-centeredness. People gain their sense of security from the family reputation. They are vulnerable to change that may influence that reputation. Money-centeredness. People focus on making money. However, they may have some noble reasons, such as providing a better life for their family. Self-centeredness is the most common center nowadays. The most obvious form is selfish. There are other examples like marriage-centeredness, friend or enemy-centeredness, work-centeredness, church-centeredness, pleasure-centeredness, and possession-centeredness. Our point of view will be different when different centers are applied. A person's center can be some combination of the centers aforementioned. However, it is not effective. To further illustrate this point, if you are work, money, and friend-centered, you will neglect your health, family, and sacrifice your entertainment. We should be principle-centered. When we encounter a problem, we can stand apart from emotions and any other factors that may act on us. We can evaluate each option based on the needs of family, pleasure, work, and friends. Taking all factors into consideration, we can probably come up with the most effective solution that we are comfortable with. The personal mission statement is not something that can be done overnight. It may require weeks or even months for you to analyze carefully, express and write it thoroughly on a paper, until you are satisfied and happy with it. Even then, you will want to take it out and examine it regularly. You may also make some minor changes as years bring additional insights and circumstances changes. Share the principles of habit 2 with family and work groups. Ask them to make a group mission statement if possible. Jot down your goal and steps that will lead all of you to the target. Try to involve as many of them as possible, because no involvement, no commitment. Begin with the end in mind. Habit 3, put first things first. Habit 3, as we have mentioned before, is the second creation, is the physical creation, the management. Habit 3 is the personal fruit, the practical fulfillment of habits 1 and 2. With the first two habits, you are in the right direction to achieve your personal success. Management determines the quality and efficiency. The essence of habit 3, which is a common character and principle held by successful people, is putting first things first. For everyone on this planet, we only have 24 hours per day. However, we have to use limited time to complete unlimited stuff. Basically, we can use urgent and important to define an activity. Therefore, there are 4 categories: urgent and important, urgent but unimportant, not urgent but important, not urgent and not important. Now, before we continue, can you try to arrange them in the order of priority? I believe that all of you can mark urgent and important as 1, not urgent and unimportant as 4. However, the challenging and tricky part is to determine which one is 2 or 3. I think that you still need some time to consider it. Let us discuss what is urgent and important. Urgent things act on us. For example, our phone rings, we receive email and message, or a last-minute deadline. Important things have to do with results. For example, relationship building, self-improvement, learning, and personal mission statement. Now, back to our question: not urgent but important should take 2, while urgent but unimportant should take 3. Some of you may be confused about why we should not deal with the urgent things first. Let me explain it one by one. Some people will spend 90% of their time in quadrant I and the rest of their time in quadrant 4, which is the only relief for them to escape from the high-tension reality. Some people may spend all their time in quadrant 3 and assume that they are in quadrant I. They didn't realize that they have wasted lots of time on unimportant stuff. Actually, quadrant 2 is the heart of effective personal management and is the point to keep P and PC in balance. We should distribute most of our time on quadrant 2. We should complete it before it becomes urgent. In my opinion, quadrant I should be reserved for unforeseen and emergency events. To prevent the situation where we are trapped in quadrant 3, we should learn to say no. You can reply to email or messages after you have finished all the important stuff. Imagine that you are in an important meeting. Out of the blue, you receive a call from your friend. Undoubtedly, you won't pick up the phone during a meeting. It can be urgent at that moment, but it is not important. Normally, we fail to say no to quadrant 3 and 4 because you don't have a bigger yes burning inside, which means that you haven't started habit 2. As we only have limited time, it is impossible for us to complete everything in 4 quadrants. We should prioritize quadrant 1 and 2. Things which matter most must never be at the mercy of things which matter least. There are 4 generations of time management. The first generation will create a to-do list and tick whenever they complete a task. It may provide them some sense of satisfaction and gratification. However, most of the time, they just go with the flow and seem like they are irresponsible for the results. The second generation will be better in planning their schedule and are more responsible for their performance. There are also many people trapped in the third generation. These kinds of people have set their goal and clarified their value. They can plan their schedule daily and prioritize the activity. However, they may end up to overschedule the day as they are focused on quadrant I and 3. Due to the heavy workload in the waiting list, they may feel stressed and escape to quadrant 4. The 3 generations of time management are not effective. To develop the 4th generation of time management, we have to focus on quadrant 2. First, we have to identify our roles and respective goals. In our daily life, we have to play roles as son, parent, employee, student, and lots more. Set a target that should be achieved. Even if you haven't written your personal mission statement, you also have some concept and small target for each role. We are recommended to plan our schedule on a weekly basis. Some targets like having a family day cannot be accomplished during weekdays. Therefore, weekly basis can cover most of the uncertainty. We can spend most of our time on important things, especially those in quadrant 2, instead of urgent things. As we have a schedule throughout the week, we are more unlikely to be trapped in quadrant I and 3. We can review our schedule every day and make some minor changes if necessary due to the circumstances. One of the most common problems encountered by people nowadays is they always feel that they don't have sufficient time. Even though we have arranged our schedule effectively, it is still impossible to complete everything by ourselves. Therefore, we may need to delegate to other people to assist us. However, there is another problem. Many people refuse to do it as they think that it will take too much time and effort to assign the task and they can complete the job better themselves. Actually, we can assign some trivial tasks to other skilled and trained people. It can save lots of time and energy, which can enable you to distribute them to other high-leverage activities. There are basically 2 kinds of delegation: gopher delegation and stewardship delegation. To further illustrate the point, you pay for an interior design company to transform your house. However, you have to stay there for the whole process to monitor and supervise them. It is a gopher delegation. It doesn't save your time. For stewardship delegation, you tell them what is your desired results and you focus on it instead of the methods. You can also provide some guidelines about what not to do and point out the potential failure path. The main point is you have to assign the tasks to them with trust, which is more time-saving. Pareto principle: 80% of the results flow out of 20% of the activities. Feel free to share your thoughts. Remember to subscribe, like and share.